My husband Matt was in a rush to meet his true love at 33, sped on the road, and died in a car accident instantly. By the time I hurried over, he was already unrecognizable. The police told me to keep my grief in check. Grief for what? The in-laws, along with his mistress, were all coming at me, trying to grab his inheritance. So I tossed Matt's urn at them. Fight on, honey. Watching the police pack up Matt piece by piece into a body bag, I urged them to zip it up quickly while pretending to be sad, suppressing the disgust inside. Miss Susan, my condolences. The police looked at me with pity, unaware that inside I was celebrating. Serves the jerk right, really. After claiming Matt's body, I had no attachment. I tossed him to the crematorium. The staff there worked efficiently, and by the afternoon, Matt was already in the cremation oven. I was quite pleased, the timing was perfect. Meanwhile, I got a call from his mom, Kate. Where's my son? Susan. What happened to my son? Her voice was shrill and piercing, making me dig at my ear with my pinky. I grinned. Matt? He's being cremated, should I send you a picture? The fire's strong. On the other end came a screeching shout. Susan. You vicious woman. I hung up the phone. Sorry, your son's done. I need to pick a nice urn for him, can't chat now. After storing Matt's ashes at the funeral home, I headed to a fancy restaurant, planning to celebrate. But suddenly, I got a call from the police. Miss Susan, we need you to come to the station. Didn't take much thought, knew it was my annoying in-laws causing trouble. Sighing, I gulped some expensive red wine from the table, then caught a cab to the station to prepare for a showdown. As soon as I arrived, Kate came charging at me like a whirlwind. Susan, you beast. How could you take Matt and cremate him without our consent? That was my son. Give me back my son. Startled, I quickly hid behind a police officer, putting on an innocent face. Wow, that scared me. Thought it was some crazy lady. Taking a seat, I watched Matt's parents sobbing to the officers. Officer, you have to help us. Susan's definitely involved in our son's death. No evidence but so quick to blame? I don't just take that lying down. So, I started crying too. I'm innocent, officer. I'm just a weak woman. How could I possibly be heartless enough to kill my husband? You have to find the truth and clear my name. Then a female voice cut through my act. Go ahead and investigate. I turned. It was Matt's so-called true love, Zara. Officers, I strongly suspect Susan tampered with Matt's car. You have to get to the bottom of it. Zara was flaunting a baby bump. Even though Matt was dead, she was at the station dolled up. Shows she didn't love Matt any more than I did. The police gave her a curious glance, then frankly told me, the car was wrecked and written off, nothing to go on, so we need to ask about the situation. I shook my head, quickly taking proof from my bag and slapping it on the table. I wouldn't mess with the car because it's mine. Matt took my keys without telling me. How would I even have the chance to do anything? I blinked innocently, with a touch of grievance. And if anyone's suspicious, shouldn't it be this lady here? Covering my face with a hand, I feigned sorrow. Maybe you don't know, but this lady is my husband's affair partner, and he got into the accident rushing to see her. Hearing this, the police turned their stern gaze to Zara, eyeing her up and down. They looked disgusted when they noticed her baby bump. On the day of the crash, did you contact Matt? The officer asked Zara. As soon as the focus shifted, Zara began to argue without thinking. Meanwhile, I tossed Matt's still intact phone onto the table. Effortlessly unlocking it, I opened his text messages to reveal Zara's juicy invitation to him. Matt, I miss you. Baby's all stable now. I can satisfy you today. The message was so explicit, it had the officer blushing slightly. I pouted like I was about to cry. He just wanted to rush to her for a date, that's why it happened. How is this my fault? Then I dabbed my eyes, triggering tears with the onion I'd prepped on my hand. Good thing I was prepared. Wouldn't let them walk all over me. The officers exchanged glances, and eventually, they let me go. I was barely out of the station when I heard Matt's parents still being a nuisance. Kate's sharp voice carried over. What about my son's estate? He's gone, we should get it. Can we make sure Susan leaves with nothing? The officer was unfazed. That's the couple's joint property. You have no claim to it. Plus, Susan will get most of the insurance payout and inheritance. On hearing this, Zara couldn't stay seated. She stood up, pounding the table, mimicking Kate's nasty attitude perfectly. No way. I have my baby to think about. This is Matt's child, I should get some inheritance too. Matt's parents always favored Zara. They never scolded Matt for cheating, they mocked me for being childless instead. Zara, with her large chest and empty head, was their ideal daughter-in-law. Now all three were siding together. Right, I have a grandchild. We should get all the inheritance. Hearing this, I paused in my tracks. How to prove it? I hadn't moved when I heard the officer ask Zara with a stern face. How do you prove that baby is Matt's? You're not married to him, and since he cheated, the law won't favor you. Listening to the officer school Zara, I couldn't hold back my laughter and even clapped a few times. Seeing the officers not taking her side, Zara glared at me and shut up sulkily. For now, the car accident case was put to rest, and the 3 members of the Matthews family followed me out of the police station. Once outside, Matt's mom quickly caught up to me, grabbing my arm. Stop right there, you hussy. We're not done with you yet. That uppity attitude, like she was a god or something. I smirked, fed up with them long ago. Ever since Matt and I got married, his parents have been enjoying the benefits of my kindness while insulting and cursing me. I used to let it go because they were older and they were Matt's parents. I didn't want to hold a grudge, so I swallowed my pride. But now that Matt is gone, why do I still need to put up with them? I pulled away from Kate's hand and smiled. What's there to discuss, huh? My husband's inheritance? I'm the primary heir, you know. Once I finish sorting out Matt's estate, I'll let you know. In the meantime, you might need to get by on your own. You insolent woman. How dare you speak to me like that? We are still your parents-in-law. The elders you should respect. Matt's mom screamed, raising her hand to slap me. I caught her hand and firmly pushed it aside, saying, but didn't you forget that I was your daughter-in-law when you embraced Matt's mistress and called her your only daughter-in-law? And now that your son is gone, what relationship do we even have? You. Seeing Matt's mom so infuriated that she couldn't catch her breath, I just smiled and walked away. How should I spend the inheritance Matt left behind? What a headache. So, I decided to go big and hired 2 young, handsome guys to hang out with. But the good times didn't last. In just a few days, I found myself trending online. It was a video taken outside the police station. Judging from the angle, I immediately figured it was Zara's doing. Sneaky people are always good at playing dirty tricks. The video had no sound, just the visuals. You could only see a mother distressed by her son's death and a daughter-in-law with a cold smile. The stark contrast of sympathy had Matt's parents looking like victims, sitting on the moral high ground. There were also clips of my daily life, showing me all cheerful, with no signs of grieving a dead husband. I was trending on social media, getting loads of hate. This woman is so vicious. Her husband just died, and she treats her in-laws like this? What a two-faced person, so disgusting. Look at how the parents are crying, and there's no comfort or sadness from the daughter-in-law. She actually looks happy. Was she hoping her husband would die all along? Yikes, when you think about it. Suggest checking if the husband had insurance. If he did, report it. His death can't be that simple. Yeah. If he took out insurance before his death, then this vicious woman, as his wife, would be the primary heir. The gossip online kept growing, but I wasn't bothered. I relaxed at home with a big apple. Then I made a call to a moving company and headed to Zara's place. Or more accurately, my place. See, the deed was in my name. It was my property before my marriage, so when Matt and I moved into our marital home, this place got left behind. Turns out, Matt had moved his mistress into my place, which I found out after discovering his affair. It sickened me to my core. Now it was time for the homewrecker to pay the price. Matt had taken all the spare keys with him, but no problem, I was ready to force my way in. The locksmith was quick, and just as I anticipated, Zara wasn't home. I commanded, "Move it all." "Everything?" asked one of the movers. "Yeah, everything in there was bought with my money. Don't leave a single thing for the mistress." The word mistress got the movers fired up, eager to even dismantle the chandelier in the living room. I looked around at the near-empty house, and I was still a bit unsatisfied. I half wished they'd tear up the wallpaper too. After clearing Zara's little nest, I immediately listed the house with a realtor. I had my eyes on a bigger, more luxurious condo downtown, and selling this place along with our marital home meant I could pay it off at once. Susan. A better life awaits you. Turns out, men are only obedient when they're gone, and inheritance money is quite fun to spend. Just as I got home, the police called. Ms. Susan? Zara reported you for breaking and entering. We need you to come in and cooperate with our investigation. After hanging up, I made sure to bring my house deed with me. Like I said, Zara never had any brains. She didn't think about who'd face trouble when it came to the police, me or her. When I handed my deed to the police, they went silent. Zara, still squealing off to the side, shouted, "Arrest her. There's evidence, she broke in." The officer couldn't take it anymore and all but slapped my deed in her face. Ms. Zara, didn't you claim the house was yours? Zara got flustered, "It's Matt's. He let me stay there and said it'd be my home." What's wrong with that? The officer rubbed his temples. This house is under Ms. Susan's name. It has no connection to Matt. She was completely within her rights to enter her home and move her possessions. Zara, like a plucked chicken, just squawked, "Then I don't care, but give me back my furniture." Exhausted, I glanced at her, unimpressed, and ignored it all. Once I left the station, I uploaded the video online, including the evidence of Matt's affair and copies of his parents supporting the mistress. What a joke, did she think she was the only one who knew how to work the internet? Once I set the narrative straight, the tide of public opinion flipped. Internet rejoiced, "Wow, this is intense." People were criticizing her before, but think about it, if my husband was cheating and put his pregnant mistress in my house, I'd be capable of some wild stuff too. True, Matt's folks aren't any better, backing a mistress? They've all got slimy faces. Gross. Ugh. Watching my online defenders rally, I couldn't help but laugh. People who know Matt's parents are coming forward to accuse the couple of mistreating their daughter-in-law, spending her money, supporting their son's affair, and now fighting over the inheritance, not even caring about their son's ashes. Matt's ashes have been at the crematorium for quite some time, and they haven't done anything about it. The so-called love is just a facade wrapped in money, isn't it? None of these three people, Matt's parents, and his supposed true love, are planning a funeral for him. Even as his wife, after being urged by the funeral home, I decided to bury Matt, despite feeling nothing but hatred and disgust for him. I managed to visit the funeral home to pick up the ashes and chose a spot in the cemetery. Just as I was about to lay Matt to rest, the family stormed in. Matt's mom came and slapped me hard, leaving a big red mark on my face. That slap completely ignited my anger. "What the heck are you doing? You bitch. You treat us like this after my son is dead. We're old, can we handle online harassment? It's all your fault." Someone had leaked their address and phone number, turning them into pariahs, scared to leave their house. They blamed me for everything and barged into the cemetery upon learning I was there. I couldn't help but laugh at their absurdity. You know what online harassment is? I'm merely sharing the truth to clear my name. If you're harassed, it's your own fault, not mine. Zara was behind her father-in-law, angrily glaring at me, itching to tear me apart. As a pregnant woman, she couldn't do much herself, so she instigated Matt's parents to act as her henchmen. I was terrified of engaging with the elderly pair. They'd throw themselves to the ground, and I'd be doomed. Matt's dad, strong as he was, didn't hold back. Together with Matt's mom, they grabbed my hair and slapped me around. One of them used their physique to punch me in the stomach. I fell to the ground, in pain all over, and spit out a mouthful of blood. Just as they were about to pounce again, I sprang up and clasped the urn tightly. Seeing me holding Matt's urn, the two old folks panicked. "Put my son down." I wiped the blood from my mouth and sneered, "Why should I?" Then, I raised Matt's urn high and hurled it at them. "Fight, husband. Matt, you let me down in life, now in death, give me this satisfaction." As the urn flew, Matt's dad instinctively kicked it, scattering his son's ashes everywhere. Shocked, the pair's mouths hung open. "My son. My boy." The woman wailed desperately, clawing at the air in a ghastly scene. "Susan, you'll die for this. How dare you treat my son like this, you wicked woman." I clutched my throbbing stomach and sneered, "Don't be envious. Once you're dead, I'll scatter your ashes too. Call the cops. Call them. Let her pay." Matt's mom ranted. I rolled my eyes. Calling the cops daily must have tired them of dealing with our lunacy by now. As Matt's dad angrily reached for his phone, Zara suddenly cried out in labor. What a bizarre scene. While the three of them scrambled, I took a selfie, the chaos as my backdrop. Zara was taken to the hospital, and things went well for her. Both mother and child were safe, and a baby boy was born. No need to guess how proud and smug those three must have looked. This didn't bode well for me. Now that Zara had a son, she'd be more determined to take my stuff, so I had to plan. Despite being married to Matt for years, we never had kids. I got tested, and I'm fine. The issue must have been Matt, but he refused to admit it. Once Zara got pregnant, he felt vindicated, blaming me and wanting me gone with nothing. Before the dust settled, he died in a car accident. I doubted Zara's child was Matt's. Just as I started to investigate, I received an anonymous email. Its contents were shocking. Turns out Zara had a relationship with Matt's dad. The intimate photos were eye-opening, each more revealing than the last. You've got to respect Zara, she didn't spare either father or son. The email's final line made my stomach churn. Zara's son is your father-in-law's biological child. Utterly shocking. Before I could investigate who was helping me, the door was being fiercely pounded. Susan. Open up. I know you're in there. Let me in. Outside was none other than Matt's raging mother. She must have thought having a grandson made her come after me, clueless that her grandson was actually Matt's brother. Ridiculous. I opened the door and looked at Matt's mom, her face flushed and enraged, and suddenly felt exhausted. Before she could unleash her tirade, I motioned for her to be quiet. Hang on, I've got a secret to share with you. Matt's mom wasn't having it. She slapped a paternity test against my face. Look here, you barren hen. Zara's given me a grandson, and my son has an heir now. Give up everything, or I'll take you to court. I chuckled. Oh really? Who was this paternity test with? Did Matt rise from the dead for this? Impressive resurrection, without even ashes. Matt's mom nearly passed out from anger. She blustered, you wretched woman, no more acting dumb. Grandfather and grandson can take a test too, and it's 99% certainty. This is my real grandson. I looked at her sympathetically. Genetically, a grandfather and grandson don't have identical DNA. A relationship test is possible, but not that accurate. If there's a 99% similarity, isn't that like a father-son match? This test, used by Matt's dad and Zara to trick Matt's mom, is evidence of their affair. I cheerfully took the test, pulling the furious Matt's mom into the study. I kindly turned on the computer for her and said, this paternity test can only fool an uneducated old lady like you. That kid isn't my husband's son, he's your husband's. Congrats on becoming a mom again. Not your own kid, but hey, he's still part of your family. I showed Kate the pictures on the screen. Watching her expression go from blank to furious to bawling made me laugh until I cried. The family drama unfolding here could outdo any novel. Wow, I said, your family genes are really something. Even the taste in mistresses is inherited. Look at that, your son and husband both messed around with the same woman. And your husband, he's quite spry for his age, huh? Probably snuck around behind your back more times than you know. I exaggerated the story as I watched the old lady grab a knife from my kitchen and storm out. Oh boy, this is gonna be good. Without a second thought, I followed her out the door. My online presence was booming, and this drama was about to be juicy content. I posted the paternity test linking my father-in-law to Zara's kid online and started a live stream. People flooded my stream. So, there you have it, folks, I said. The mistress was playing both my husband and father-in-law. And, not too bright, my hubby's running around taking care of her, oblivious to the betrayal. The reactions in my stream were priceless. No way, father and son with the same woman. Ridiculous. That old lady doesn't get it even with the evidence in front of her, bless her heart. I tagged along with the old lady as she found her husband, streaming and enjoying the drama all the way. You beast. You betrayed me even with Zara, didn't you? The knife was already out of Kate's hand as she attacked my father-in-law like a madwoman. It was a hilarious sight. As the fight escalated and got too close for comfort, I got out of there, fast. But before leaving, I called the cops. Later, I heard she ended up in the hospital while her husband got detained for a few days. He didn't hold back on his wife of decades. What a scumbag, worse than Matt himself. For now, Kate's family was too tied up to bother me. Meanwhile, I reached back out to that anonymous email and arranged to meet her. I was curious about her motives for helping me. The sender was a woman, clearly a successful and wealthy one. We met at a fancy restaurant. "Zara's got a habit of being a mistress," she said, "tried to seduce my ex too. But she miscalculated. He was relying on me financially, and once I found out, I kicked him out. No patience for traitors." Her name was Emma, and she had quite a background. "I saw your story in the news," Emma continued. "I thought the mistress looked familiar. Turned out it was Zara. Some people never change. I felt for you and thought I'd help while getting a bit of revenge for myself." Emma toasted me with a smile. "So, what do you plan to do about Zara?" she asked. "She's definitely eyeing the little inheritance you've got." I took a sip of my drink and grinned. "She won't get a dime. Matt tricked me into footing the bill for his company. Most of the inheritance should have been mine anyway. Of course, I'll legally pay a bit to his parents for their retirement." "Just to warn you," Emma said, "Zara's nastier than she'd seem. She'll go to any lengths. Since the scandal ruined her, she'll definitely conspire with that old guy to get your money. Watch your back." After our meeting, Emma and I exchanged contacts and hit it off. We even planned to hit the bars someday once I dealt with my current mess. Emma was right. After Zara's and Matt's dad's scandal became public, Zara went nuts. She'd show up at my door, demanding not the inheritance, but her sofa back. A sofa? Suspicious. After filing a police report to shoo her away, I took a closer look at the sofa I dragged back but hadn't yet sold. Was this thing lined with gold? Why was Zara so obsessed? That's when I accidentally stumbled beside the sofa. There were signs of repair underneath it. Super shady, since Matt didn't lack funds these years. Why patch up a leather sofa instead of replacing it? Curious, I pulled at the patched area. With a rip, bundles of cash spilled out like a waterfall. Holy, what a sight! Why did they stash so much cash inside a sofa? What else don't I know? That night, I contacted Emma, asking if she knew someone who could investigate something for me. Emma, ever resourceful, instantly referred me to a private investigator, no questions asked. I told the investigator about Matt, and he assured me that within a week, he'd find out everything about Matt and Zara. Satisfied, I upped the down payment by 30%. Let's see what Matt kept hidden from me. Before the results came back, Matt's dad and the mistress showed up at my doorstep again. This time, I looked at Zara with new eyes. Did Matt's dad know the sofa's secret? Either way, the two of them were peas in a pod and definitely up to no good. "Susan," Matt's dad said arrogantly, "we've been more than fair. Just be wise, move out, hand over Matt's assets, and give the company to Zara. Walk away empty-handed." The older he got, the thicker his face. I was the majority shareholder of the company, plus Matt's estate wasn't as grand as they imagined. Most of the properties were in my name too. How dare they suggest I leave with nothing? I put my hands on my hips, pointing at them while yelling angrily. "I've been calling you dada for years, could you at least act like an elder? How dare you steal my money? Why should I give it to you? So you can take our shared assets and support your love child? Matt lived such a pitiful life, right? Died for a lover, only to find out that the child she carried was his dad's. All his life he thought he was secretly raising his own son, but it was really his brother. Oh, and by the way, his biological dad beat his mom into the hospital. Even in the afterlife, my husband is probably rolling in his grave." Matt's dad was so furious at my words that his eyes almost rolled back in his head, and he raised his hand to slap me. I pointed at the corner of the room where the camera was. "Look. I have surveillance with no blind spots. You lay a hand on me, and I'll send you straight to jail. Remember how long you stayed there last time? Wasn't it enough?" With the threat of jail time looming, Matt's dad clenched his teeth. "What do you want?" I sneered, "I don't want anything. Not a single penny will go to your mistress and your illegitimate child. We'll do everything legally. Once the lawyer drafts the agreement, I won't deny you support for old age, but that's all you'll get." Matt's dad was pissed, about to lose his temper, when Zara suddenly shouted from behind him. Fine. I don't want anything else. I just want the sofa from my old house. I scoffed, have you lost your mind? That sofa was bought by my husband, you lived there less than a year and now it's yours? Zara was frantic, I can buy it at a second-hand price, alright? Zara's thoughts are always shallow, so easy to see through. Seeing her so eager, I decided to mess with her. Okay, how much are you willing to pay? Zara gritted her teeth, 5,000. That's the highest price, right? 5,000? Thinking about the stash of cash in that sofa, I burst out laughing, no way. You. Zara clenched her fists, you're crazy wanting more for that old thing? 5,000 can get you a brand new set. Have you lost your mind? 20,000, take it or leave it. If not, then forget it. I pretended I was going to close the door when Matt's dad angrily protested, asking 20,000 for an old sofa, why don't you just rob a bank? I shrugged nonchalantly, take it or leave it. Just before the door closed, Zara blocked it, deal. When Zara agreed, I saw Matt's dad's eyes widen, and his look at her was like she was an idiot. Seems like he didn't know what was stashed in that sofa. But he couldn't argue with Zara, so with a stiff face, he wired me their scarce 20,000 bucks. With the money in hand, I was more than happy to let them take the sofa away. Zara was even happier than me. So dumb, she didn't even notice the sofa felt lighter. Once those two oddballs were finally gone, I relaxed a bit, only to be bombarded by messages. First, a letter from the private investigator chilled me to the bone. Apparently, all that money was dirty. Emma wasn't exaggerating when she said Zara was a serial homewrecker. When she didn't get money from Emma's husband, she bailed. Then she stumbled across a wealthy guy, used her usual tricks, and got into his bed. But that rich guy was nearly 70. Way older than Matt's dad. Wow, I thought Zara had no boundaries before, but she proved me wrong. The old guy was disgusting, but rich, yet Zara was still unsatisfied. So she set her sights on Matt, who was doing business with the old guy at the time. Matt was young, good-looking, and wealthy, Zara's perfect target. So Zara went for him, too. While getting cash from the old man, she was also hooking up with Matt on his business trips. Until their affair was discovered by the old man, and heartless Zara hit him over the head with a vase, smashing in the poor old guy's skull. After committing murder, Zara fled overnight to find Matt, emptying the wealthy guy's house of all its valuables. When she met Matt, they plotted to sell everything. To avoid exposure, they dealt only in cash, stuffing all the dirty money into that sofa. Hearing all this filled me with dread. Oh, and Miss Susan, Zara's real name is 77. She changed it after the murder. Our investigation team is scared too. I truly recommend alerting the authorities. Who knows, she might harm you next. I'll send the documentation over, we've got all the evidence. Hanging up the phone, I sat in my room, stunned for 30 minutes. Just thinking about giving that sofa to Zara had me panic-stricken. If she found out the money was gone, she'd definitely suspect I knew the truth, and she wouldn't hesitate to kill me. Shivering, I was about to call the cops when my phone rang again. It was the real estate agent. Someone was interested in the house and wanted to move in ASAP. When asked if I could clear out quickly, I didn't hesitate to say yes. We set up a time to sign the contract over the weekend before hanging up. This place wasn't safe anymore. Selling it quickly was for the best anyway, so I booked a hotel for that night. I packed some important items to take with me, with plans to come back for the rest the next day. I was so exhausted, especially after all the news about Zara, I just couldn't deal with everything at once. Once I reported the crime and handed over the sofa's cash stash to the police, I returned to my hotel to sleep. But just then, the police called again. Miss Susan. We just caught Zara, who set fire to your house. The fire is out, but we couldn't find you. Are you safe now? I instantly felt goosebumps rise on my skin. That was close. I can't even imagine what would have happened if I had been home tonight. I guessed right, Zara must have realized something was off when she got back. She thought I must have discovered her secret and rushed to kill me to silence me. But I reacted much quicker. Zara was quickly caught, and Matt, who was involved, already died, so the police didn't bother his family much. But I heard that the night Zara was exposed for murder, Matt's dad had a heart attack from the shock and didn't make it to the hospital. I mean, if I found out a murderer slept right next to me, and not just any murderer, but one who killed a lover with your same identity, who wouldn't be terrified? Such a pity for their newborn son, though, what a tragic fate. After Matt's dad passed, his mom got released from the hospital. She was already old, and this whole ordeal aged her about 10 years. When I saw her again, she was hunched over and didn't have that nasty mother-in-law vibe anymore. With a sigh, I decided to put her in a nursing home, covering the costs each month until the day she passed away too. When I moved into my spacious apartment downtown, I invited Emma over for drinks. With everything sorted, we started living a carefree life with handsome guys around us all the time. One night, I even dreamt about Matt. He was gritting his teeth, calling me a cruel and heartless woman. Typical men, always flipping things around, even in dreams. I told him, a woman can't be happy unless she's tough. We can't just sit around waiting to get hurt by lousy guys and nasty girls, right, darling?